You're listening to Forgotten or Forbidden. Read by Chest and Lila Jean. Written by Lila Jean.
Chapter 8. The Crazed, the Suspicious, and the Terrified. Aw, such a beautiful day. Mumbo yawned, stretching his arms. He sprang out of bed and walked to his chest, collecting rope for Grian's wings. "Aw, there you are," he said, grabbing the rope. And before he strapped on his elytra to take off, he checked his communicator for any important news. And boy, it's a good thing he did, because there was definitely important news. Grian whispers to Mumbo. "No need to help me this morning. I figured out how to conceal them." Mumbo whispered to Grian. "That's wonderful news. Shall I come over? I found some old galactic books lying around." Grian whispered to Mumbo. "No, that will be unnecessary." Mumbo whispered to Grian. "Well, okay then. See you around." No response. That was strange. Well, maybe he was busy. And in fact, he was extremely busy. He was focusing his energy on gaining some control over his power again. Consequently, having not practiced his magic in quite a while, he was anxious about his ability. Knowing he had to get away from hermitcraft so the Watchers would not come looking for him there, knowing the Watchers were determined to find him and would kill if necessary, knowing that all his friends would be in danger if he stayed, he was ready to pick up the pieces of his broken mind. His plan was to relearn how to create a portal to another Minecraft world. An empty world. Just him. Then he could lock himself away, so the Watchers would not be able to find him nor hurt a single hermit. Best of both worlds. Standing there in the empty mansion that lacked an interior except a tiny bedroom setup, he closed his eyes. There, right there, he could feel it. A force that held everything in balance, pushing and pulling things in place, covering the blocky world. Then, squeezing his eyes shut, he held out his hand. With all his might, he tried to remember his training. Preparing for the rushing flood that was magic, he tensed up, his wings outstretched, unable to close them. His magic teachings were forgotten, hence why he had completely lost the conscious control over his wings, causing their unexplained appearance. He wished he could remember how to conceal them and cursed their uselessness. The affliction of magic had left that permanent mark. Magic had left other permanent marks on Grian, but those marks couldn't be seen. Now, sweat dripped down his face as he attempted a flame. He could feel it. Then, whoosh! The purple flame set alight, rolling around on his open palm. Smiling like a fool, the flame reflected in Grian's wide eyes. Finally! He was going to get control over his powers yet. He realized how silly that thought was. A little fire in his hand. That was nothing compared to what he used to do. The abilities he once upon a great time harnessed. He used to be powerful. Now look at him, sweating, huffing, and white all over a small fire. Pathetic. Only if he could remember how to use his talents that he once was known for. But there was a large brick wall in his mind. He sighed to the empty room. I need a break from practices, take my mind off of... Letting that sentence not end, he grabbed the rope and unsuccessfully started to tie his wings. The shopping district was a bustle today. Hermits ran from here to there, looking for the best deals. Gingerly, Exuma walked up to a proud-looking Scar, who stood towering in front of his city hall.
Crazy, isn't it, how far this place has come? Indeed, X, indeed. It's a bustling metropolis now for all hermits alike. Speaking of hermits, have you seen Mumbo? That stunt he pulled yesterday, plus his strange behavior makes me worried for him.
Scar gestured to 4 hermits trading with open shulker boxes.
You're in luck. He's over there. Oh, great!
The bee-man said, running over to the group who stood on the bright, fresh green grass. Iskal, Mumbo, Grian, and Tango stood in discussion, heads down in an intense chatter.
Mumbo, hey, Mumbo, can I borrow you for a sec?
The Englishman smiled politely and nodded.
Oh, and you too, Grian.
Grian froze, the hair on the back of his neck standing in alarm. He knew he should not have come to the shopping district. Too public. He thought seeing his friends would be a welcome break, but every conversation was like a needle pinning in his open palm. He turned to follow X, heart speeding. Okay, just act normal. They followed the bee behind a large shop in the alleyway, where they could talk unheard. X stared at their faces, the suited man's cheeks high in a resting smile, contrasting with the blonde builder's jumpy posture, back hunched timidly.
So, I was wondering why, Grian, you've taken an interest into Galactic.
Blankly, Grian stared at him, trying to look normal, but all he could accomplish was a dumb expression. Well, better than nothing. X, I didn't sleep well last night. I really don't feel like talking. Maybe I'm coming down with something, he said, attempting an unconvincing shrug. Man, it's like having all my lying powers have been taken away, along with my magic. Depressingly, that idea took place in his mind. The blonde hermit was looking pretty weak, the admin thought, almost sickly. Mumbo shot Grian an elbow nudge and gave him a, "This is your time to tell him," look. X waited patiently. Why did everyone have to be in his personal life? Why were people always prying into him? It was for their safety, after all. Paranoia shot through him like a bullet. "I need to go," he said abruptly, and before the other hermits could protest, he shot up into the sky with his elytra. All he knew was he needed to go home. All the faces he saw, and the chatter he heard, all exchanges of good morning through grinning teeth made his stomach twist, sending knives slashing in his body. Boiling over, once he had reached his base, he set to work, turning off his communicator. This time, for good. Exuma blinked at Mumbo.
Now, what's that all about? Mumbo, can you shine some light on this?
Mumbo, trying to pull off a nonchalant look, shrugged and attempted "I don't know nor care" face, but instead made a face that more resembled a constipated Popeye. X was about to question him further, but there was a yell that took his attention. Rushing around the corner, X saw Iskall losing it on Tango. "I told you I need more health potions than this!" Honestly in shock at his behavior, Tango shrunk under the red man, who gestured painfully. Iskall sputtered some Swedish words unknown to Tango, but assumed to be exclamations of frustration over Tango's stupidity. Tango was glad he couldn't speak Swedish. This wasn't Iskall at all.
Whoa, what's going on here?
Said the admin as passing hermits' heads turned to puzzle at the bizarre scene happening.
I dropped a few health potions this guy was going to buy, and he just lost it.
Tango said, pointing to the frantic man who shook uncontrollably. But before the Swede could correct Tango's story, Doc ran through the scene, carrying something under his lab coat. He had an urgent expression on his face.
Everything all right, Doc?
He full well heard the admin, but didn't respond, instead brushing past them in a hurricane in speed and swearing under his breath. The Doc distraction gave Iskall and Mumbo enough time to sneak off without further questions and unnoticed by the bee-man, who plopped on the ground, shaking his head.
Goodness gracious me, everybody's gone mad.